Everyone, welcome to Legacy IAS. So this is the second part that in which we are discussing the most probable topics from science and tech. Okay, so this is first is defense. Quickly we'll move forward. First is Golden Dome and Sudarshan Chakra. So this came in news recently also. So Golden Dome is what? This is what a lot of debate is also going around between Donald Trump and example China and Russia. So basically what they are doing in Golden Dome, this is by USA. This is a planned multi-layered missile defense system of USA. Now, in this, what they will be doing, it will have ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missile. It will also have space-launched missiles. So essentially, what US is saying that we will be covering the entire world, okay, and we can launch missiles on anybody, anytime. Now, it will not just be about strategic and defense like that. We usually call it defense technologies. This can lead to direct offense also. This is what China and Russia is claiming. USA is saying that this is very important for us strategically. So you remember Golden Dome, USA, and it has space-based components also. Then it will also combine with the other two of USA, if you know the names, the terrestrial ones, that is THAAD, already been asked, and the Patriot defense system. Okay, these are also by USA. Then Sudarshan Chakra. This is planned air defense system by DRDO. This will again same full spectrum protection. So it will involve AI and all other different components. This is what the Prime Minister talked about on 15th of August. Okay, that we are trying to make something known as Sudarshan Chakra. Again, next is Akash Tir. Okay, I have told you before also. So this is a fully indigenous automated air defense reporting system. So this will not be launching missiles. This will take in information from all different sensors and will provide the best reporting to launch missiles, to where to launch, how to launch. All those things will be provided by it, but it won't do this. So this is like AI based brain for your defense system. This is Akash Tir, developed by BEL, Bharat Electronics Limited. Then next is INS 3 are in use. Okay, there are many in use, but these three are very important. In fact, I think Aridhiman, if they are making a paper, this can be directly asked. Why? Very important. So this is nuclear powered ballistic missile submarine. This has been commissioned in April 2026. So missing in many current affairs magazines. So what has happened? So this is commissioned in April 2026. What is this? This is the third indigenous Arihant class nuclear powered submarine. Now, if you know about submarines, nuclear powered submarine are very important for nuclear triad capabilities or second attack using nuclear weapons. Now, second strike. Then what it has, this can also be asked. So they use K4 and K15 Sagarika missiles. K4 and K15 Sagarika missiles. K4 has range of 3500 kilometer. The one with lower number has higher range, and K15 has 700 kilometer. This is the third. There are two more, INS Arihant and INS Arighat. After that, this is the third one, and this is called INS Aridhaman. Understood? Then next, INS Aravali. Now again, a very beautiful trick question can be made on this. This is stationary. First of all, you read INS, what you think? You ship, moving ship, attacking, this, that, all that you think. Now please remember, first thing, this is completely stationary. This is a stone frigate, completely stationary. It is based in Gurugram. It is not even in the sea. Very good trick question can be made. You will immediately cut Gurugram. Correct. So this is made in Gurugram, so that now what is it for? So this will act as cyber nerve center. So all the information from here there, it will act as a cyber nerve center, and that's why it is close to Delhi, where main decision makers are located. Please remember this. This is INS Aravali. Then INS Nistar. What is this? This is indigenous diving support vehicle that has been developed by HAL, Hindustan Aeronautical Limited. Please remember, this is a diving support vehicle, again non-combat. Understood? Then next, Project 17A. Okay. Now, Indian Navy initiative to make 7 stealth guided missile frigates. Guided missiles, you remember, correct? Cruise, or in some way they will be guided, and This is stealth also, you understand, which has technology to be hidden from the enemy radars. And frigates are a type of naval ships. Then 75% indigenization will be there, not completely indigenous, 75%, okay, very high. Then in this, how you will identify this? Remember INS dash Giri. Okay, now here there is Taragiri, Mahendragiri, there are many like this. So how you will remember INS dash Giri? Giri means mountain. Okay, so this is your code to remember that this is project 17A. Now all have been delivered, but out of them, the last one to be commissioned. So after delivery, then they go for commissioning. So the latest one that got commissioned in again March or April 2026 is INS Tara Giri. So you remember the name of INS Tara Giri also. This is stealth guided missile frigate. Of course, if it is guided missile, then it is attack. Then now this LRASHM. What is this? This is long range anti-ship missile. This has been developed. Now this is a hypersonic glide vehicle. Understand hypersonic glide vehicle, we have talked about this. So basically what will happen, if this is a ballistic missile, it will go up like this, powered till half the point, correct? Then from here they will release a hypersonic glide vehicle, correct? So this range has been increased, and now from here it becomes a guided missile. Half part it is ballistic, and then after coming down a bit, then HGV are released. That makes it a guided missile, correct? So this is hypersonic glide vehicle based missile, long range anti ship missile. Then Tara. Tara was in news just this month only. Okay, so what they do, they make dumb gravity bombs guided. So basically, the dumb gravity bombs, whatever warhead you have, and then gravity bomb is what? Where you just are going by an aircraft and you drop it. So it just falls wherever like a stone, correct? And then it blasts. Now, those are very dumb, correct? That cannot change directions, cannot do anything. Now, and the range is also very small, whatever is the speed. Now, what they are doing here is they are giving it like a, a navigation system. Okay, so they will give a small wing and navigation system to it in front. Then what will happen? So instead of just falling like this, it will have small wings, so it will glide, and it will lead to increase in range. Also it will have some guidance system, so it can maneuver a bit to hit the target more precisely. So this is what it does. Now, is it better than missiles? No, it is not better than missiles, but it is better than the old gravity bombs that you had, that is just dropping without any change in path. So this makes the gravity bombs, which are much cheaper to make, they make them intelligent. So a very cost effective technique again by DRDO. Then Agni Prime. Now, what is this? This is a two-stage canisterized surface-to-surface ballistic missile. Now you do know Agni is a surface-to-surface ballistic missile. That is fine. Agni Prime two-stage is fine. Canisterized. What is canisterized? Canisterized means it is already ready, completely ready, completely made. Now you can just deploy it immediately without taking in much time. That is called canisterized. It does not mean modular, this that. It is already canisterized, it is already completed, you are not joining anything, it is just you have to release it now. Then this is a nuclear capable medium range ballistic missile. Medium range as in 1000 2000 kilometer types, and this is nuclear capable. So this is strategic as well. Okay, then next is energy, nuclear energy. Sure, short one question should be there. Okay, four main things have happened here. First, let's start with the easiest one. Small modular reactors, which is less than equal to 300 megawatts of energy, correct? So basically it comes in modules you can join, and then you can create energy. Now SMRs can be used in many ways, on land, on sea, everywhere we are trying it now. This is the focus for the private sector to make more and more. Then let's come to Shanti Act. Very important. Shanti Act. Okay, this has essentially opened our nuclear energy sector. Now, understand one thing, it replaces Atomic Energy Act 1967 and Civil Liabilities for Nuclear Damage Act 2010. Both are being replaced by this act. Now, please remember just basic bifurcation. Every detail you may not remember, that only nuclear power generation has been largely given to the private sector. Otherwise, waste disposal, okay, nuclear weapon making, how the norms will be, everything is still with the government. Now, there are two entities in it. Two entities in it. One is the supplier and other is the operator. So if we talk about responsibility, the operator's responsibility has been increased and that of the supplier has been decreased. Why it was decreased? So that India, that faces a lot of problem with respect to supplier of equipments, of fuel, everything, that is not there anymore. Correct? So this has been done and the government is still holding the most important things. Even radioactive waste disposal is with the government. Then there is Kalpakkam FPR. Okay, so this is Kalpakkam. Kalpakkam is also known as Madras Atomic Power Station, MAPS. Please don't get confused. Okay, so this is fast breeder reactor. Now, this is made by Bhavini, not by DRDO. Okay, not by any other HAL, this, that, nothing. Please remember, this is another entity called Bhavini that has made this. Okay, now this why it is important, because Homi Jahangir Bhabha devised the three-stage nuclear plant with this. So with this achieving criticality. Criticality means now it does not need any external neutrons. It can sustain chain reaction. So once it has attained criticality, now we have completed the second stage as well. Now we can move to the third stage of what Homi Jahangir Bhabha proposed. If you remember, first stage was about using the natural uranium, what you used to get as byproduct, plutonium, and then plutonium and uranium 238 plus small amount of thorium we are used to add to create some uranium 233, again a fissile material. The third stage was mainly putting in thorium and then getting energy out of it. Why? Because India is the largest thorium reserve country in the world. Okay, then anil. Anil is a fuel. Okay, this is low enriched thorium based fuel. So basically small amount of uranium, okay, enriched, and thorium will be taken and together they make a fuel that they were claiming that can be directly put in India's pressurized heavy water reactors without much changes. But now with more research and research by Indian scientists, they are saying that it is not working that well. Now please remember, this is by a company in the USA. They have made this, not made indigenously. CCTE USA. Now, but remember, the weird thing is that this CCTA USA, they have named this on one nuclear scientist of India called Anil Khatko. Okay, surname I may be forgetting, but Anil was his name. So on that only they have made Anil. Understood? SMR we have already done. Then rare earth metals, again very important. 17 metals which are crucial for high tech industries, they are together called rare earth metals. Okay, yttrium, you might have heard of all those metals. Now they are rare not because they are not found in pure form. They are found in some very complex compounds. Now it does not mean that they are not available in earth crust. They are abundantly available in the earth crust, but why they're called rare? Because they're not found in free form. So what you have to do, you have the main process here becomes of extraction and processing. And who leads in extraction and processing? China. China is the leading one in extraction and processing of almost all rare metals. In fact, almost all critical minerals, which is the second topic, critical minerals. So India, if you remember, last year I think we declared 30 critical minerals under MMDR Act, Mines and Mineral Development. Okay. Now in 2026, they have added coking coal also. Coking coal is the, because we don't have the best variety of coals, correct, and this coking coal is actually more than 95% pure carbon. So this has now been included in those critical minerals, and now we have not 30 but 31 critical minerals. Then next is green crackers. Okay, green crackers is by CSIR NIRI. Okay, this is Environmental Research Institute. Okay, CSIR NIRI, direct you can put. So this is green crackers, 30 to 35% less particulate matter, eliminate barium compounds. It actually uses some of the aluminium compounds and all. It has SWAS technology, that is along with the explosion, whatever, it releases water also. so as to cool it down, and so that the particulate matter that is released is settled down with the water. So it has many different technologies like this. Then batteries. In batteries, two batteries are very different. For example, lithium ion is based on intercalation. That is, the lithium ion moves from anode to cathode, not reacting with anything. It just goes in the lattice of anode, then cathode, and it keeps moving like this. This is called intercalation. Then similar is sodium ion, similar is aluminum ion, nothing much changes. Now, vanadium ion is a completely different kind of battery. This is redox reaction based. So you take vanadium can exist in four different oxidation states. We have talked about it. So you have two electrolytes and then mixing of it. So this is based on redox reaction. Something will get oxidized. Here you are having proper reaction in the anode and cathode side. Here there is no reaction, just lithium ion moving. Then next is nanotechnology. First, only two are there: metal organic frameworks. This got the Nobel Prize. This got the Nobel Prize this year. Now, what is this? Understand. So basically, it is like on the nodes, you have metals like this, and then then they are joined by organic polymers. Okay. Now, because they are joined by organic polymers like this, now what will happen? So basically, can you feel it that the ends are fixed, but organic polymers and all can move very easily. So you can change the size of it very easily. These are called metal organic frameworks. Now they are highly tunable. Now because you can change the size, it provides you surface area. It can be used in almost any. So if you get options, just take the very wide view. Okay, it can be used in from water filtration to high tech electronics. Everywhere it is useful. Then next, atomic stenciling. Now this is another technique. This is a bottom up nano fabrication technique. Now what they do in this, now you might, when we study nanotechnology, we read about this, that you, for example, you take certain kind of nanomaterial and then you coat it with some lipids, correct, and then you try to use it for drug delivery, something like this. Now what happens, don't you think that nanoparticles are small, but we are never talking about where exactly they should be joined, correct? So somehow it is working, but it is not very exact. What can make it very exact is atomic stenciling. So this is a technique. Okay, now what they do here is basically, for example, if this is a nanoparticle, now what they will do, they will dip it in iodine to cover it completely like this. Now now they will lead, this will lead only small spaces. Okay, for example, this yellow space will only be left. Now if this whole thing is colored like this, now only yellow part is left. Now if you want to, if you bring any other nanoparticle, anything you want to join, now where will it join? It will join exactly as at these points only, or nodes only. Through this we can create very large nano structures. Understood? Because now you are essentially saying that these are like legos for your nanomaterial. So now you are essentially saying that it will be joined at exact places only. This is atomic stenciling. Perfect binding only is the only possibility here. Then next is emerging tech, servam AI. Okay, this was very famous in India AI Impact Summit, correct? Now they have, this is an Indian startup based in Bangalore. Now they have created Servam 105B, 30B, and Servam Vision, that is OCR and all capabilities. This is LLM, large language model. So whatever AI company, this that you hear are, those are just wrapper companies. So inside them they have Chat GPT only. Okay, so essentially all these video editing, this that technology you use, inside what they do, they call, or through, this is called API call. So they will call Chat GPT will do the action, and then they will show you that we have done this. This is what you call as API call. So this is what is done by most artificial intelligence companies that we have. Now Servam AI is different because it is trying to create its own Chat GPT version. So it is like its own Chat GPT. It's like our own Gemini. Okay. So this is why it is important for sovereignty of AI, sovereign AI. Then see this GANs. What are GANs? So this is generative advanced network. Now, if you remember one word, generative AI. What was generative AI? which could create original text content. Now you're not limited to text anymore, correct? Now you create photos, videos, you create original audios, songs you might have heard, okay? Jagjit Singh singing songs, even now the new ones. How it is happening? Because of generative advanced networks. These can generate realistic images, videos, data, etc. Then next is TPU and GPU. See, GPU, by now you must know, this is mainly important for parallel processing. That is, it takes a large task divided into small tasks, and those tasks are done simultaneously. That is GPU, parallel processing. Now, it started with graphics, correct? In computer gaming, that's why it is called graphic processing unit, correct? Now GPUs are the most important thing in artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence also involves parallel processing. But what was GPU made for AI? No. GPU was made for some other purpose. Now it has been repurposed to be used in AI because that is the best we had available. Now, Google understands this. So they are making TPUs. These are tensor processing units. These are similar to this, but these are hyper specialized for AI by Google. So Google's proprietary is this. They are making this. This is highly specialized only for AI. No graphic, nothing. Okay, all other use cases are fine. GPU can do this. TPU is mainly for AI. Then agentic AI, all over in use. So what is this agentic AI? You might have used agent mode in chat GPT, in which you can give him a PDF and say that read the PDF and keep on making corrections. Now in the window it is constantly showing you that okay, so this is for students, so I should change it like this, then I should change it like this. I can highlight the most important point so that students understand it better, remember it better. All this it will give you right then and there. You can see it, and it is doing this whole processing and eventually giving you the final product. This is called agentic AI. They can act autonomously, they can make decisions, they can use different kinds of tools, they can go to the internet, use tools, then they can achieve complex goal by dividing it into small goals. Now this everything it can achieve without human intervention. This is agentic AI. Then API, as I told you, application programming interface. What is this API? This lets two different software application exchange data and commands autonomously. Correct? So what is this? If I told you that, for example, you're using some useless image editing app. Now, what it is doing, what I said, they are mostly based on chat GPT only. So what they are doing, essentially that app sends sends this request to chat GPT to edit it like this. That is giving instructions to the chat GPT. Then chat GPT makes that changes, makes that new image, and then it is given to this, and this is then shown to you within that app. What is this? What did that app do? Didn't it communicate with another app and then give you the final result? This is what API is. This is also called API call, that I have to make API call. Okay, so why would chat GPT allow something like this? Chat GPT is open AI. Why would they allow something like this? Because for each API call they get some money. So they will get like 1 rupees, 5 rupees, 2 rupees, whatever is the cost. That much they will be getting by each request, and that company can sell you as some image editing software. All that can be sold to you. So this is lets two different software application exchange data and commands automatically. Then Cloudflare and AWS. What is Cloudflare? Cloudflare is the middle layer between the user and the server. So you want to reach servers, but if you try to reach it just by yourself without using Cloudflare, now what will happen? It will make it very slow. They have to do a lot of checking. Then also it is not safe because there are constant attackers. So Cloudflare is the middle layer in between that provides you safety and speed. Understood? Now, recently there was a huge Cloudflare outage. Almost 40-50% of the internet is based on Cloudflare to provide safety and speed. And that's why the large part of internet went down. Then you have AWS. AWS is something that provide you servers you saw here. These cloud servers and data centers is what AWS provides you. So instead of you buying computers and establishing a data centers, what you can do, you can store everything in the cloud given by Amazon. Okay, there are two other brothers of this that These three are the big three that on which the entire internet framework, most of it runs. This is AWS, correct? This is Amazon Web Services. Then you have Azure, Microsoft Azure, and you have Google Cloud. These three are the main players. Then you have Dhruv 64. What is Dhruv 64? This is first indigenous 64-bit dual core microprocessor that has been developed by CDAC. Now, is it the most advanced? No. If you remember, 64-bit dual core processors is what your old laptop used to have from Intel. Correct? But this we are making indigenously for the first time in India. So first indigenous 64-bit processor made by CDAC. Now this is based on open source RISC-V architecture. This is just some architecture that is being used to make the microprocessor. Fine. Then last, Kaveri. Again, I think they can give one question from this page itself. What is Kaveri? Kaveri is India's first quantum computing chip. First quantum computing chip, when it came in 2025, it was 25 kpu. Kpu is what? Quantum processing units. It was 25 QPU. Now in 2026, recently you can see it has become 64 QPU. This has been developed by QPI AI. Now, of course, they won't be giving this name, so they will give some wrong name. For example, CDAC or something like that. That will be wrong. QPI AI, this is a startup that has made this Kaveri chip. This is India's first quantum chip. Please remember it. Then 1000 kilometer QKD has been made. Quantum key distribution. Now, quantum key distribution, see, if you want to communicate in a very safe way, your quantum keys should be safe, correct? So those must be communicated or sent from one place to another in a very secretive manner without any tampering possible, correct? So for that you need QKD network. So India has recently developed 1000 kilometer QKD network. Now see this. This comes under National Quantum Computing Mission. Now the target by 2030 was of 2000 kilometers. But this particular startup called QNU Labs in Bangalore. So this is QPI AI, this is QNU Labs Bangalore. Now QNU Labs Bangalore actually achieved 1000 kilometers within 2 years. Okay, so now we are moving ahead of the schedule. Correct? 2000 kilometer we had to get by 2030. Now only we are done with 1000 kilometer, and we are progressing fast. Why? Because of this particular start. QNU Labs. Now, understand why it is so important. This is very important for the military strategically. Now, what it uses dark optical fiber routes that are used by the military also. Okay, so they don't, so that nobody knows that from where these optical fibers are going, but using optical fibers only, some polaroid methods, they are able to transfer this quantum keys safely. Understood? Again, most important for military, then not some educational academic institutions, nothing, military. Now this originally QKD is will have two parts, terrestrial part as well as space part. Right now what we have developed is only terrestrial. This 1000 kilometer is only terrestrial. Where exactly is not very clearly known. Understood? Okay, so this is it for your last minute revision. That's it. Thank you.